It's a privilege to be able to be a part of this time in Snohomish.
When our church is built, it's going to be right above Highway 2, and people are going to look over and say, what is that church?
I feel like it's such a privilege to be here and living the sacramental life, and I just want as many people as possible to be able to be drawn into that same life with us, pursuing the kingdom of God together.
In the very beginning, it was it's a little scary. We started in holding Vespers here in Snohomish. We started Vespers in our home with Father Thomas Davis.
And part of starting that mission church was there was a small handful, and to do a mission church with only a few people was going to be a struggle, but everybody got on board. Sometimes we'd have a priest and sometimes we wouldn't have a priest, and sometimes we'd have a deacon and sometimes we wouldn't have a deacon. And that was kind of a spiritual struggle in the beginning because it felt just like what a real mission church would be.
Father Thomas did a Vesper service on Wednesday night, April of 2004. And I got the call the next morning that he had passed during the night. When Father Thomas died, we did have a meeting at the industrial park where we were at, and we had to make the decision, do we want to really go on or just stop there? And I don't think there was any question that we were going to keep going.
Father David, Summer, and Heather showed up with their kids, and we were like, that's unheard of. We're so tiny. How did we get a priest? And Father David has his story about how he got to Snohomish.
We came here as a young family. I was 30 years old when we arrived here 20 years ago. I had to work full-time as we raised the children besides the church, and Korea Heather's an iconographer, so when I was building, which was my trade before, she would be at home with the kids, and then there were times when I didn't have work and she had icons to paint, and I would be home with the kids.
I'm Laura Weatherhogue and my husband Scott, and we've been coming to our church at St. Thomas for about 15 years now. So as Father James used to say, we're some of the old timers. Our other church, which was a rental before we had the one we're currently worshiping in, it was so small and there were people who just couldn't stay.
This chapel, which became our church, we built, and it was neat to be part of that, to literally nail up some of the walls and do some of the painting and join in. I didn't do as much as many other people did, but it felt a part of it nonetheless.
St. Thomas means a lot to me. It's, I would say, like my main source of community in life.
So let's go to the industrial park. My favorite memories and the fact that we could serve people the Divine Liturgy. We'd go outside in the middle of the winter with storms, and we'd have hot soup and we'd have donuts and we'd have hot coffee was really big.
I think our first liturgy in the build out down there in the warehouse, I think that is a very fond memory.
So I got sick, quite sick, almost to the point of death about 1.5 years ago. I got visits from a lot of the parishioners. And some of them, the parishioners that came, were ones that it wouldn't have occurred to me that they would have wanted to come and see me. And it changed our relationship ever since then. We've had a very close relationship, but it really showed me while I was in the hospital, I felt keenly the love of God in a way that I had never felt it before. It's like a family, like I said. There's great times and there's also some trials, but it's all good in the end. Christ is glorified, I think, through it all. So.
One of my favorite memories was our very first Pascha, which we weren't even baptized yet, but it was in Washington. It was a beautiful sunny day, and it was the first time I had ever experienced something like that. Obviously the service and then the Agape Vespers and seeing the community come together. That was for me really when I was like, oh my goodness, I love this church. I love the people here.
We're attempting to build a church with God's help to be as beautiful as we possibly can. Thousands of people drive by every day, and there'll be thousands of people that can see something beautiful that is inspiring, that says, I want to go check that out.
I think that Father David Summer has really, big vision, bigger than building the church visions.
And the barn has been fine. This has been a good place to be for now. But this isn't what we want to leave our children. This isn't what we want to leave Snohomish.
It was modeled on the church in Goldendale, where the monastery is, St. John the Forerunner Monastery, which is an incredibly beautiful church.
I think it's going to be amazing. I think just the opportunity for even further growth is going to be something really big when the building's finished.
When we finally build the church here, and on that day when the church is consecrated, we're not just consecrating a permanent altar. The whole property, the whole ground, and everything that radiates out from it participates in that, in God's divinity, which is there. You're sanctifying that area.
It's a piece of the kingdom of heaven here on earth. That's what we want to help establish here.
We all get to see like a handprint personalized of ours. That it just makes it much more feel like it's our church as a community.
Mm-hmm.
People can help whatever way they can help.
Actually, anybody who's a little bit curious and just thinks, well, could I just kind of help out with a paintbrush or a hammer or a little bit? Is there something I could do?
We put stuff away in our 401ks, earthly bank accounts. It's good to put things into our heavenly bank accounts. Being a builder and a benefactor of this holy house is something that is prayed for everybody at all times in all generations in this church.
Then we're going to have a truly Orthodox temple here, and it's going to be very visible, and people are going to come and see. We're going to come and see.